Another witness, another instance of perjury, or instances, I'd say.
Hey friends, I am back, and today we are going to be looking at the Karen Reed retrial once again. And we will be focusing today on, I don't know, is he officer? Is he sergeant? I'm just going to call him Mr. Yuri Buchanan because I don't know what his official title is. I was unable to sit and watch his entire testimony, direct or cross. However, the bits and pieces I was fortunate enough to see were carried out by Alan Jackson during the cross-examination so meticulously, so beautifully crafted. I was like in awe. I was in awe of Alan Jackson's proficiency. And of course, there were a few moments for me that I was like, what am I hearing?
You were also asked to evaluate his investigative ability, correct?
That's correct.
You rated him the highest standard in the Massachusetts State Police, outstanding, a 5, correct?
That's correct.
You wrote, quote, Trooper Proctor handled himself and all the case with utmost professionalism and competence. Is that right? Those are your comments.
That sounds very accurate.
Professionalism?
Yes.
You believe that he acted in accordance with the highest standards of professionalism?
During his 90-day performance, yes.
Not just in integrity, but he conducted himself, as you put it, with strict integrity. Is that right?
That is correct.
Did it show integrity in your view when your subordinate Michael Proctor called Miss Reed retarded?
I don't know that one.
I believe that as a U.S. citizen, he has the right to comment. That's his First Amendment right. We uphold the Constitution, and it's unfortunate, unprofessional what he said in the private text message communication. He might have been voicing his frustrations. I cannot speak for Michael Proctor.
And my goodness, Buchanan was ready to die on that hill by standing up for Michael Proctor, disgraced Michael Proctor. Anyway, guys, just some of the absurdities. Like, I was thinking to myself, this entire thing is an embarrassment. It's cringe. And I really wanted to see what the jury thought of Yuri and his testimony. So let's take a look. Today I'm going to be working with the Tarot of Mystical Moments. This deck has some very interesting depictions, but nonetheless, we will be able to glean through these depictions and through the psychic messages I'm receiving exactly what the jury was thinking as they were sitting through those days where Yuri was on the hot seat. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. The Fool. I was just going to say, what was the jury's overall impression of Buchanan? Now, I've mentioned previously that the Fool card is not meant to imply that somebody is actually foolish. However, I think it is very telling in this particular situation because we have this individual who is about to walk down what appears to be an innocent hill, but look, this is a monster, right? And look at what's at the bottom here, the jaws of the alligator. And I believe that the jury was sitting there thinking, this man is just walking right into the clutches. He's playing right into Alan Jackson's hands, and Jackson is going to eat him up and spit him out. I believe that the jury did see this happening in real time and that they were cognizant of this happening. The jury was very smart. They picked up on his parsing of words, on how he was trying to sidestep certain things so as not to implicate himself or anyone in his team. The jury caught it. Those little nuances were not lost on this jury. Okay, let's see what else. What did the jury think of his demeanor?
Private face, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
in his official capacity as a Massachusetts state trooper to call her retarded? That's your justification?
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you justify his statement, that vile statement?
I do not know.
Do you think it's appropriate, given the fact that he has a First Amendment right to say whatever he wants?
No, I do not.
When I was watching, some of the things that stood out to me, one was his affect or lack thereof. He was flat. It felt to me that the entire time that Buchanan was trying to convey through his words, his stance, that he did not want to be sitting there, that he did not want to answer one question, that everything was a chore to him. Again, guys, when I speak for the jury, I'm not saying that all of the members there had the same exact feelings or thoughts, but I believe that these are overall arcing emotions that many of the jurors shared, okay? And again, they're not talking amongst themselves, but I believe that a great many of them thought that Buchanan was walking into it, that he was walking into the trap set by Jackson. Let's see what they thought of his mood, his demeanor. 5 of Pentacles. This is that sense of loss, that sense of being trapped. Look at this. He's in the trap. A trap largely of his own design. He was wearing this trap, guys, and the jury knew it. They knew that he was there under duress. He was there because he had no choice. He was trapped. He was literally trapped there. And everything about his demeanor spoke to that sense of being captured, of being imprisoned by this proceeding, by these proceedings. And the jury, a large portion of the jury, knew this. Panic was trapped on that stand and did not want to be there. Everything about him spoke to this. His voice, his inflection, his stance, all of it. And they recognized it. Okay, let's take a look at what else. Did the jury believe much of what he was saying? 8 of Pentacles. So you have an illustration here of a woman, and she's basically she's painting these butterfly wings. And I feel as though this particular number, the 8 card, is relevant because it came up quite a bit in the first reading as well, the first trial readings that I had, the 8 of Pentacles. I firmly believe this points to 8 jurors who were aware that Yuri was more or less just creating a portrait, a picture, or painting a plot, if you will, of what he wanted the jury to believe happened, but not of what actually happened. Now, it's entirely possible that more than 8 jurors were feeling this way, but I find it really interesting that the 8 seems to be a number that hangs around with reference to this trial and these trial proceedings. So, in essence here, what I'm getting is that many jurors were listening to Yuri, were detecting signs and signals that he was not being completely forthright, at the very least, to say the least. They could tell that he was sort of making things up as he went along, and that largely what he had to say was very self-serving, and he was just drawing it, creating it as needed, coming up with the answers he thought would best serve him and the Commonwealth. Right. Let's see what else. I would like to know, with regard to Buchanan, was anyone on that jury, any member of that jury, was anyone feeling completely disgusted?
I don't remember reading that text.
As you sit here now, do you think that text is appropriate?
No, it is not.
Do you think it's professional?
No, it is not.
Do you think it shows integrity?
That text message does not show integrity.
Do you think it shows honor? A word I expect you hold dear.
That text message does not show honor.
Strength. Okay, we have the number 8 card.
Do you see what I mean, guys, with the 8s? You cannot make this up.
I believe 8 of these jurors or jury members were 100% feeling disgusted. They were feeling completely beside themselves over that particular aspect of the testimony. And I find it very interesting with the 8 here were feeling very strongly in their conviction against Buchnick and against the fact that he could even remotely stand up for someone such as Proctor. All right, so let's get 1 or 2 more questions because I want to save one for last that really doesn't have anything necessarily to do with Buchnick. It has to do with the judge. I'll save that for last. But this question is, did the majority of the jurors find Alan Jackson's cross-examination to be more believable and more effective than Hank Brennan's? Let's do it that way. Did they find Jackson to be more believable and effective and stronger than Brennan's examination of Buchnick? Ace of Pentacles. Yes, they did. Now, again, we don't know how many. We don't know how many felt this way. I feel that many of the female jurors are more inclined to be taken with and to be on the side of Alan Jackson and the defense. That said, I want you to see that there are two springs here, 2 blooms coming from the ground. There are still 2 sides to this story. There is no clear winner as of yet with this jury, be it Jackson or Brennan or the defense side or the Commonwealth's. But we have Jackson in the lead. I believe largely that, especially with the female jurors, Jackson is earning more points. That isn't to say that the male jurors aren't impressed with him or that he isn't making marks with them, but I feel as though a lot of the female jurors are really keyed into Jackson much more so than they are to Brennan. My final question is regarding Judge Canon and how she is being received by the jury as a whole. Do they recognize any sort of bias? Are they aware that she is clearly favoring the prosecution in this case? Are they aware of it at this point in time? Are the jury members aware that Bev is biased? That she seems to be helping out the prosecution? Are they aware? We had 2 cards fall. The King of Swords, that's a yes, or that's a maybe. Actually, the King of Swords is a maybe. And the Emperor is a yes, maybe and yes. We have this individual suited up with this bird sort of acting as a mask. There are 2 sides to Judge Canon, and I believe that the jurors, some of these jurors, are recognizing that there's something about her that she's trying to conceal. Some of these jurors don't know quite exactly what to term it. Some of these jurors are very well aware that Judge Canon is the puppet master. She is pulling all the strings here with reference to who she favors, who she doesn't. She's the puppet master. And I believe that there are many jurors who are aware that she's clearly playing favorites. Look, she's able to pull strings as needed. If the prosecution is in need of assistance, she's ready to pull those strings. If the defense needs to be brought down a peg or two, or to be quieted down, or to be controlled, to be telling them to move along because she believes there's damage being done, she's in control of that too. And I believe that there are some jurors that are really seeing through her at this point in time. Some are not. Some are not quite as clued in to whatever she's doing here, what she's trying to hide. So I think there's sort of a split. I believe the larger majority of these jurors might be speculating to themselves about this favoritism that Canon has toward the prosecution. But others are not really focusing on that at this moment in time. All right, guys, so that was our reading for today. Those were the messages. Thank you so much to my guides for delivering them through this beautiful deck. And thank you to each and every one of you that comes back to watch my videos. If you haven't as of yet subscribed, please take a moment now and do so. Share this video. Drop a comment down below. What did you think? What were your takeaways from these messages? And please do stay tuned for my next video in the Karen Read Retrial. I'm so grateful to each one of you for being here, and we'll see you next time. Take care.